It's a meditation on grief, on guilt. It's based on a woman who is trying to deal with the fact that her young daughter died in a pool accident while she was resting, not paying attention, not watching her. And these type of accidents happen quite often, actually. And a lot of people don't know about these stories because they're not as publicized. But I felt like this really showed sort of the personal trauma and guilt that goes through these kind of processes, in which there's like really nobody to blame specifically, but obviously the parents feel like they are the ones to blame because they were not present. I felt like pretty much every aspect of this film was done very well. The construction of the scenes and the construction of the feel of the film obviously led up to the ending, in which you see the daughter above the woman, and it has a very haunting and creepy vibe that maintains throughout, and the quality of the acting is very, very high through for everyone on screen.
Everything from the cinematography to the editing to the acting to the script, it is all so phenomenal that I at one point stopped taking notes because I was so enamored with it. But what I do have, I love the opening intercut flashback of um, her sleeping on the couch to looking at the pool, so you kind of get a glimpse of what happens, but then she looks back and her daughter is there, and then she's back to reality. It was just a really good way to kind of show what she's suffering is being in reality versus the past, because that comes up a lot too. Like the my absolute favorite moment was the present, where she is looking at the pool that got refilled with the glass, and then we cut to the flashback of learning the story of how it happens. So when her and her husband are there and he runs to the pool and she has this slow walk of shock to the pool, and then we cut to the shot behind her and you see him run across. We cut back to her face and then back to the present with the glass shattering. It was artistry, that scene alone. Um, Even the entire thing. I mean, when she goes to the office and she gets the flowers in the vase, and then we see the little bit of water in the vase, and understanding how triggering that is. There's the tiny moment of when she wakes up from her nap and goes to check Camille's room, and the record player's kind of scratching and still there. That moment was incredible. Um, there was just so much I loved about this. I love that it could be a standalone as it is now, but I could see it as, I thought it would be a movie style until I realized there was that second episode, and then I was like, oh my gosh, yes, because you can delve into so much of this. Um, it really just shows like the way we cope with grief and loss, and how every person is different. And they say this with marriages too, is you're grieving differently, so the person you once knew is not the person that you're grieving with, and it becomes really hard. And yeah, the standout was absolutely that our lead, the woman, and her friend, I thought was really good too, because her friend was a really good counter. Obviously, the husband is suffering grief in a different way, but the friend was like slightly cheerful enough that it kind of broke up the heaviness. I will say too, oh, the jump scares. Every single jump scare got me. Like, they were the closet, the image of her being dripping wet, like all of that. I was like horrified. Um, I absolutely adored this.
The performances of all the characters are excellent, notably the lead. She gives such a sensitive portrayal of a person in shock and sadness. The film is made in black and white, giving it the feel of the past, as we also view flashbacks of the day of the girl's death. Clever ghostly hallucinations, too. Perfect sterile setting of the house to be sold. And the soulful soundtrack is quite fitting.
One of my favorite scenes was the moment that she sees the pool filled after she told him, please, I'm not ready to see the pool with water again. He's doing the best he can. He feels like, let's move on. It's been a year. He thinks that's going to help. She doesn't think that's going to help. There's a breakdown in the marriage. She sees the pool filled, and it's intercut within the moment that she discovers her daughter is in the pool. Very strong. And you don't actually see the daughter in the pool, but you don't really need to. You just see her looking out the window at the pool. And it's just powerful. And then you move on to part two. And I honestly, it could have stopped there and it would have been a strong enough piece on its own. But then you move on to seeing her, I guess trying to continue to rebuild in this part two in the breakdown of the marriage. And it doesn't come to a resolution, but it's this wanting to get to the bottom of it. It's like I want someone to blame outside of myself. And I think that losing a child, it really does something to a woman. It really does something to a woman. And this whole idea of there being this monster that is making these sounds in this house, this could be something that is in her head. This could be, just a manifestation of her grief that is just kind of coming to light in these sounds. This could be, I need someone to blame outside of myself. It could be a lot of things. But I do know that, this to me overall shows that mental health is important, especially in the offset of tragedy. It shows that, kind of what you go through in a state of grief. And it doesn't matter the timing. There is really no set time for when you're going to be okay in these types of situations. And, everyone's going to handle it differently. And it was just a really powerful message.
The actors all did such a great job, especially the lead. She was wonderful, and and she and the husband and the conflict between them, and then she is the comforting friend. Um, there's a lot going on here, and the little girl, and she appears in the flashbacks, also wonderful. But yeah, so this, is they're tackling a very difficult subject matter in a very, very interesting way. So I like the way that the present day plays right alongside the flashbacks, going from one to the other. It's very interesting to see the way they're doing that. The end of the second episode, that effect shot especially is very moving and very spooky and very scary and very, very memorable. That's I can't I don't think I've seen a shot like that. With the seeing the ghost of a drowned person floating over someone, like that. That's an original way, very original way to execute that. That was very well done. It looked really good. Great performances.
All of the actors did such an impressive job conveying all of these emotions. And I think that the story was perfect. It was beautiful and it was tragic about a mother being, haunted by the loss of her child. The way that they set this up was so beautiful and executed so perfectly because they give you just enough breadcrumbs for you to kind of sort of figure out what was going on with this couple. And I think that that's very, very smart. They don't hit you over the head with it, but they do have the reveal kind of mid episode, which was great. This was shot brilliantly. I think that the musical score fit it really nicely. It gave moments of where it was foreboding and it kind of let you know that something was going to happen. And then there was a sadness to the music. I thought that that was great. Everything that they shot special effects wise was great. I loved the special effect at the end where she's suspended on the ceiling looking down at her mom. This was just so well done.
Sleep With Me is a beautifully done film. It really tugs at the heartstrings, and the timing of it as it unfolds is absolutely impeccable.